Arrhiya had no idea how many cups he'd had at Madame Serene's manor. All he knew was that the room was spinning, slowly at first, then violently, like the world couldn't stand still just like he couldn't. It wasn't supposed to be a wild night. He and his friends, Ojello and Char, had simply slipped out for a bit. They didn't tell Nelo, because Nelo would have lectured them into the next lifetime. But now Ojello and Char were off in another section of the manor, getting pampered by Madame Serene's prettiest ladies, while Arrhiya wandered alone with a jug of something strong and expensive. He slumped against a velvet couch, cheeks red from drink, his head filled with thoughts he didn't want. Why was life so unfair? Why was Arrhiya the one born with overwhelming magic? Why was he, just him? A prince with no spark. He let out a groan and rubbed his face. Then froze. Hands. Hands were suddenly all over his body. His arms, his waist, his shoulder. Arrhiya blinked up, vision blurry, and saw a huge, striking man towering over him, muscular, handsome, smiling like a predator who'd just found a treasure. Well, the man purred. So the rumors were true. The greatest beauty of Luminar is even lovelier up close. Arrhiya's stomach twisted. Get off, he muttered, trying to push the man away, but his limbs felt soft and useless. The man only chuckled, leaning closer. I came all the way to Luminar just for you. Don't worry. I'll take very good care of you tonight. Arrhiya's skin crawled. Disgust surged through his drunken haze, giving him just enough strength to shove at the man's chest, but it was like pushing against a mountain. The man's smile fell. His expression twisted with annoyance. Don't be difficult, he said, gripping Arrhiya's chin. Give me a kiss. He never finished the sentence. Because a deafening roar tore through the hall. And suddenly, flames. Blue-white fire blasted across the room, missing the man by a hair. The heat was so intense the furniture behind him burst into sparks. Arrhiya's eyes widened as a familiar figure stepped in front of him, half human, half dragon, scales glowing faintly as smoke curled from his mouth. Nelo. And he was furious. How dare you lay a hand on the Crown Prince? Nelo bellowed, baring sharp dragon teeth. The man only laughed, drawing a gleaming sword and deflecting the fire with a single swipe. He looked at Arrhiya, smirking as if the whole thing amused him. Your Crown Prince is weak, he taunted. If he ends up with me, I'd at least give him stronger magic. Maybe even strong children. Nelo gagged in disgust. You're filth. The commotion finally drew Ojello and Char from the other room. They burst into the lounge, took one look at the scene, and immediately joined Nelo, weapons drawn, eyes blazing. Together, the three of them pushed the intruder back, cornering him toward the exit. But the man only smirked, clearly unfazed. Just before he stepped out into the night, he paused, and locked eyes with Arrhiya. We'll meet again, he said softly. I promise. Then he vanished into the darkness as if he owned it. Nelo didn't even wait for the intruder's footsteps to fade before he rounded on Arrhiya, and Ojello and Char too. His scales were still receding, his eyes still glowing faint gold, but the fury in his voice was unmistakable. What were you thinking? He snapped. All three of you. Sneaking off without telling me? Getting drunk? Arrhiya, I told you, that you can't wander around without someone watching your back. Arrhiya winced at the volume, clutching his throbbing head. Nelo, please. Not now. No, now. Especially now. Nelo pointed toward the door where the strange man had vanished. That predator almost dragged you off. Do you think being Crown Prince makes you safe? It makes you a target. If I'm not beside you, things like this happen. Arrhiya shot him a glare. I said not now, Nelo. His tone was sharp enough to silence the entire group. Even Ojello and Char exchanged uneasy glances. But Arrhiya only pushed past them, stumbling toward the exit. We need to go home before this gets worse. Nelo ran a hand through his hair, muttering, "It's already worse. Your father is going to kill all of us if we show up with you smelling like wine." He was right. The moment they stepped into the palace, King Aurelius was already waiting, arms crossed, expression thunderous. His disappointment hit harder than any slap. "So this is how you honor my words," the king said, voice cold. "I told you someone important would be arriving tonight. And yet you come home drunk?" Arrhiya lowered his head, shame burning in his chest. He had never seen his father this furious. King Aurelius' gaze then snapped to Nelo. "And you? I trusted you to watch him." Nelo bowed deeply. "Your Majesty, forgive me. It won't." But Arrhiya stepped forward immediately. "No. Don't blame him. It's my fault. I snuck out without telling him." The king's jaw tightened. His anger didn't lessen, but a flicker of conflict passed through his eyes. "You disappoint me," Aurelius said quietly, which somehow hurt more than shouting would have. "You embarrass this household, and yourself." Arrhiya swallowed hard, unable to meet his father's eyes. "Go," Aurelius ordered sharply. "Clean yourself and get ready. He arrives soon." "He?" Arrhiya murmured, confused. But the king didn't answer. He simply turned away, leaving Arrhiya standing there with a heavy heart. Arrhiya shut the door behind him and sagged against it, letting out a long breath. His head still pounded, and his throat still burned from the cheap liquor, but the guilt hurt worse. "Nelo," he said quietly. The dragon servant turned, his expression softening just a little. "I'm sorry," Arrhiya muttered. "For dragging you into my mess. For making you worry. But Nelo shook his head before he could finish. "Don't apologize. Not tonight. You already have enough weighing on you." He placed a comforting hand on Arrhiya's shoulder. "Just change before your father decides to drag you out himself." Arrhiya managed a faint smile. "Thanks." Nelo nodded and stepped out, closing the door to give him privacy. Arrhiya washed the scent of alcohol from his skin and scrubbed the frustration from his face. By the time he slipped into a clean robe and tied his hair back, he almost felt human again. Almost. A soft knock sounded. "Your Highness," a maid said through the door, "the king requests your presence in the grand hall." "Your guest has arrived." "Guest? The one he was supposed to meet tonight?" Arrhiya sighed. "Tell father I'm coming." He followed her downstairs, still buttoning his sleeve, until he reached the grand hall and froze. Standing beside his father was the man from the manor. The same arrogant brute who had flirted with him, touched him, and tried to force a kiss from him while he was barely conscious. "You," Arrhiya breathed, his eyes widening. Dracon smiled, no, smirked, like he had been expecting this exact reaction. King Aurelius, completely oblivious, stepped forward proudly. "Arrhiya, allow me to introduce Prince Dracon, second son of King Ardelian of Welster." Arrhiya stared between them, stunned. "Prince? That man? That predator?" "Welster and Luminar have shared peace for centuries," the king continued. "And Dracon is renowned for his strength and exceptional magic." Dracon bowed with exaggerated politeness, though his eyes glittered with smug triumph. "A pleasure to meet you again, Prince Arrhiya." Arrhiya clenched his jaw. "Father. I already met him. Tonight. And it was not pleasant." The king blinked, confused. "What do you mean?" Arrhiya's voice rose in anger. "This man tried to take advantage of me at Madame Serene's manor. He cornered me while I was drunk." Gasps echoed from the servants nearby, but the king's expression hardened. "Arrhiya," Aurelius said sternly, "this is not the time for wild accusations." "They're not wild," Arrhiya snapped. "I don't like him. I don't trust him. And refuse to marry him." King Aurelius' face darkened. Enough. I will not tolerate this childishness. Arrhiya stepped back, shocked. Childishness? I'm telling you You have rejected every suitor I've ever presented, Aurelius said sharply. Every one. But not this time. Arrhiya's heart dropped. Father. The king's decision was final. You are a hyena. Your magic will only awaken when you bond with someone powerful. If you truly wish to rule Luminar, then this is the path you must take. He gestured to Dracon. Your wedding will take place in 2 weeks. Arrhiya stared, stunned, betrayed. Father. His father, who knew how much he hated the idea of being bound. Who knew how much he wanted to stand on his own strength. Who knew how much he feared losing his freedom. Prepare yourself, King Aurelius ordered. This marriage will happen. And with that, he turned and walked away with Dracon beside him, Dracon who shot Arrhiya a slow, triumphant smile over his shoulder, as if he had already claimed him. Arrhiya stood frozen in the hall, fists trembling, anger and dread twisting painfully in his chest. Arrhiya didn't leave his room for hours. He shut the door, collapsed onto his bed, and curled into himself. The world felt too heavy. Too cruel. Too unfair. His father's words kept replaying in his head, this marriage will happen. He wanted to scream. He wanted to run. He wanted to disappear. Nelo sat quietly nearby, watching him with sad, worried eyes. What am I supposed to do now? Arrhiya whispered finally, voice shaky. My life is over, Nelo. I'm going to be tied to him. That monster. Nelo shifted closer and gently placed a hand on his arm. Arrhiya. I know this hurts. I know you're scared. But we'll figure something out. Arrhiya let out a weak, miserable laugh. Figure what out? My father has already decided my fate. And Dracon, gods, Nelo, he looked at me like I was something he already owned. Nelo's jaw tightened. If there were any way for me to protect you from this, I would. But, his voice dropped. I don't have the power to change the king's mind. Arrhiya turned his face away, burying it in his pillow. Then I'm doomed. Within a day, the entire kingdom knew. The Sun Academy buzzed with the news. Whispers. Stares. Smirks. The heir to Luminar was finally getting married, to the famed warrior Prince of Welster. And of course, Arrhiya couldn't resist. She approached Arrhiya as he entered the training hall, her long dark hair shimmering behind her, her eyes glittering with delight at his misery. Well, well, she purred, folding her arms. The royal wedding is all anyone is talking about. I suppose congratulations are in order. Arrhiya clenched his jaw. Leave me alone, Arrhiya. Oh. Why so bitter, she teased. You should be grateful. You'll finally have magic worth something, once your husband lets you borrow his power. Her henchman snickered. And don't worry, she added, leaning closer, once you're just a decorative figurehead, I'll handle the real ruling. Someone competent should, after all. That did it. Arrhiya snapped, lunging at her, rage, humiliation, everything boiling over. But Arrhiya barely lifted a hand. A golden surge of light blasted from her palm, throwing Arrhiya back like a rag doll. He hit the ground hard, magic crackling uselessly around him as the students burst into laughter. Pathetic, she chuckled. You can't even touch me. Arrhiya's cheeks burned. His heart felt like it was splitting open, anger burning through him. That night, sitting on his balcony in the cold moonlight, Arrhiya made up his mind. He would not marry Dracon. He couldn't stay here. He couldn't face Arrhiya. He couldn't face his father's betrayal. He couldn't be bound to a man he despised. He paced the room, frantic, while Nelo tried to keep up. We need a plan, Arrhiya said. A real plan. I can't let that wedding happen. We can't avoid Prince Dracon forever, Nelo reminded carefully. He's been at the palace every day. Then I'll avoid him forever, Arrhiya snapped back. I'll hide in my room. I'll climb the roof. Anything. But every idea fell apart the moment he said it. They were trapped. 3 more days until the wedding. 3 more days until he lost his freedom. Arrhiya suddenly stopped pacing, eyes wide with an idea so wild even he wasn't sure he believed it. I'll run away. Nelo stared at him in horror. Arrhiya, no. Your father will search every corner of the 5 magic realms. There's nowhere you can go. There is one place, Arrhiya whispered. One place he'll never look. Nelo blinked. Where? The lost island of Arrhiya. Nelo's jaw dropped. Arrhiya. That cursed island. No one even knows if it's real. It's real, Arrhiya said stubbornly. And even if it isn't, it's still farther than Dracon's grasp. Arrhiya, have you lost your mind? Maybe, Arrhiya shot back. But it's better than losing my freedom. Nelo pinched the bridge of his nose. Even if Arrhiya exists, you can't exactly stroll out of the palace looking like this. You'd be recognized instantly. Arrhiya's expression sharpened with manic determination. I know. Nelo tilted his head. Then what are you? I'll become someone else. Nelo blinked again, then frowned. Arrhiya, no. What do you mean? Arrhiya pointed at his own face dramatically. I'll disguise myself. As who? Arrhiya straightened up proudly. Senraya. Nelo's eyes grew so wide they almost popped out. Senraya? You want to look like, your worst enemy? Arrhiya shrugged. Well, she's the only identity I can come up with right now. I can't exactly think up someone I don't know. If I'm going to be someone else for 6 months, I hate to admit it but I'd prefer to look like her. Nelo slowly sat down like he needed to reevaluate his entire life. Arrhiya, this is the craziest thing you've ever said. And the smartest, Arrhiya countered. It's the only way. Nelo looked at him long and hard. You're actually serious? Arrhiya nodded. And with that, the first spark of rebellion, and chaos, lit up his eyes. Identity change magic had always been the kind of spell people whispered about, the kind reserved for desperate men, doomed fugitives, and legends told by drunk old storytellers in taverns. It was forbidden for a reason. Dangerous. Extreme. And irreversible for 6 whole months. But for Arrhiya, it wasn't a cautionary tale. It was freedom. Nelo knew the risks, knew the consequences, and still, he came back late that night with trembling hands carrying the 2 sacred ingredients. A single sun leaf plucked from the deep, glowing heart of the debris forest. A small flask of water from the ageless pool, its surface frozen in time. Only those 2 things could weave forbidden identity magic. Nelo held them out with a heavy expression. Arrhiya, are you absolutely sure? He asked, voice low and soft. There's no undoing this. For 6 months, you won't be you. Arrhiya didn't even hesitate. I'm sure, he said. This is the only chance I have left. That night, Luminar glowed like a festival of stars. Fireworks burst open in brilliant golden spirals above the palace, loud, beautiful, celebratory. The entire kingdom was rejoicing, already celebrating the wedding that would happen the next day. Maids had laid out Arrhiya's luxurious wedding robes inside his room, their fabrics shimmering like sunrise, embroidered with threads of pearl and gold. All meant for a wedding he wasn't going to attend. He stared at them one last time, resentment tightening his chest. Then he turned away. Because tonight was the night. Nelo prepared the mixture carefully, mashing the sun leaf and stirring it into the crystal-clear water. It glowed faintly, like sunlight trapped in liquid. Drink it, he said. Arrhiya gulped nervously, then lifted the cup to his lips. The moment the mixture touched his tongue, a sharp heat shot through his body, bright, burning, twisting. His skin rippled. His bones shifted. His hair lengthened, darkened. His voice thinned. His eyes sharpened. And in moments, Arrhiya was gone. Arrhiya stood in his place. He rushed to the mirror with wide eyes, gasping. It was perfect. Horrifyingly, wonderfully perfect. I look exactly like her, he whispered. Nelo exhaled shakily. Then we must leave, now. They didn't waste another second as they climbed out the window, slipping into the shadows of the palace gardens. Every torch, every guard, every corner felt like danger. But Arrhiya forced himself forward, each step a step away from Dracon. A step away from the wedding. A step closer to freedom. Their goal, reach the sea, steal a small boat, and sail out toward the lost island of Arrhiya. But the world had other plans. Halfway down the forest trail leading to the coast, figures stepped out of the darkness, 5, maybe 6 men, scruffy, armed, and smirking like they owned the night. Well, the leader grinned, eyeing Arrhiya's transformed body. Look what wandered into our hands. Arrhiya froze. Pretty little thing, aren't you? Before he could react, they grabbed him, rough hands, hungry eyes, assuming he was just a helpless woman. Let go of me. Arrhiya shouted, pushing back, but without magic, without strength, he was nothing against them. Nelo growled. Release him. The bandits laughed. And what will you do about it, little boy? That was their last mistake. With a deafening roar, Nelo shifted, scales exploding across his skin, wings unfurling, flames crackling between his teeth. In seconds a half-dragon stood in the clearing, eyes blazing with fury. He unleashed fire at the men, forcing them back in panic. Run! Nelo roared. Arrhiya didn't look back. He sprinted into the forest, branches whipping against his stolen face. Meanwhile, far away in the shadowed lands of Umbraeth, Emperor Kenar prepared for his nightly patrol. It was a routine he never skipped. Cold, precise, and utterly disciplined, just like the man himself. As he fastened his dark armor and stepped out with his guards, the palace behind him felt even colder. The moment he left, his harem stirred with low whispers. Lyaina, his first royal concubine, sighed bitterly as she watched his silhouette disappear into the night. Does he ever smile? She muttered. Another concubine shook her head. To him, we're nothing more than furniture, pretty things arranged neatly so the empire looks complete. Their voices carried frustration, loneliness, and a quiet resentment. Life in the Umbraeth palace was golden, but the hearts inside it were starved. Meanwhile, Arrhiya was running for his life. His breath came in short, sharp bursts as he sprinted through the unknown landscape. The spell had already transformed him to look exactly like Arrhiya, but that didn't make his situation safer. Behind him, the robbers who had escaped Nelo pursued him. Furious shouts grew louder. Nelo had stayed behind to fight them in his dragon form, but Arrhiya knew even Nelo couldn't hold them off forever. He pushed forward until something stopped him, a wall of shimmering blue light stretching endlessly in both directions. The boundary. The forbidden divide between Luminar and Umbraeth. No one could cross it. No one. Arrhiya's heart pounded. He could already hear the men scrambling closer, their footsteps crunching over dry branches. Cornered and desperate, he placed both palms on the barrier. Please, he whispered. Just this once, let me through. The barrier hummed under his fingertips. And then, something impossible happened. It let him in. His body slipped through like water through silk, and he stumbled out the other side into pitch-black nothingness. Umbraeth. The kingdom of eternal night. Arrhiya froze. The air was cold, the sky a deep violet void, and the land itself felt hollow, like a place stripped clean of warmth and joy. Shadows stretched unnaturally long across the ground, and in the distance, he could hear the low howl of Umbraeth's ghost winds. He didn't get long to absorb the dread. Hoofbeats echoed. Several dark silhouettes approached him from the gloom, soldiers mounted on enormous horses clad in black steel. Torches flickered in their hands, casting eerie orange halos across the barren land. At their center rode a man on a towering black stallion. A regal figure draped in obsidian armor, his presence sharp enough to cut the night in half. His sword gleamed with a cold blue glow as he leveled it directly at Arrhiya. "State your name," he commanded, voice low and dangerous. Arrhiya's blood ran cold. He didn't need an introduction. Even in disguise, even in a land he had never seen, he recognized the man instantly. Not too long ago, he had even studied about him and his ancestors in class. Every child in Luminar had grown up hearing stories about him. Emperor Kenar Dravenmore. The ruler of Umbraeth. The most feared man in all 5 magic realms. Arrhiya stood frozen, staring into the eyes of the man who could end his life in a heartbeat. Thanks for watching. Share your thoughts. Like and subscribe. Hope you have a wonderful day, everyone.
从他接过白兰的指尖，传来春江的暖。